Nil to the Arsenal over Brighton, a huge result. In fact, a very monumental moment in the title race, perhaps, with City dropping points against Forest. I haven't seen any of that match. From what I understand, they went ahead twice and have been pegged back at home against Nottingham Forest. So just a huge set of results for Arsenal. It was incredibly tense, an incredible performance, especially from Arsenal's defenders. There's a lot to unpack in this one. This is the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal. This is Rav, your host as always. How is everyone wherever you are in the world? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm recording this just minutes after the final whistle. Away at Brighton, Arsenal have ground out a win 1-0 thanks to Bukayo Saka's first half goal, very early in the match actually. And we defended resolutely. I want to get that out of the way first. It was an incredible defensive performance. Everyone can just take their flowers. I think the standouts were Hincapié, who was just brilliant all match. Gabriel, an absolute warrior, saved ourselves an early goal from a rare moment of lapse from David Raya with a pass out that was astray. And it was a heroic performance from Arsenal's defenders. I think they all deserve a lot of plaudits for that. It was very tense as well. It's one of those situations where, look, I think we're all probably feeling it. I feel a lot more aged watching this match. I think there's with 8-9 matches to go. I think it's gonna age me a decade at this rate watching that, because the way we've been able to hang on as the tension grew and grew over, especially the second half. The amount of pressure that Brighton were putting on the referees, the crowd, they were highly emotional, weren't they? They were very distracted by Arsenal, it seems. Look, I'll come to that in a moment, but I want to give the standouts first. I thought Arsenal really, really fought hard. This was a very gutsy, brave performance. The other part to this that I'll come to a bit later is about how nervous we feel and how more difficult we make it for ourselves. This is not a new thing. This is just not just about the Brighton match, because we all know and we've experienced Arsenal sitting back in fine margins and just on one goal leads. And sometimes you get picked off and sometimes you don't. And the last couple of times against Chelsea a few days ago and here against Brighton, thankfully, it hasn't come back to bite us. So we've taken 9 points from 9 now, the last 3 matches since that draw against Wolves. City drawing again this morning. All the pressure is on them. It's a 7-point lead now for Arsenal. So this could be a very significant moment in the title race that we might be looking back on in the months and years ahead, that this was the night where the balance very much tipped in Arsenal's favour on the scales. Now, maybe things change again, because you never know. This is football. Football can just all it takes is one bad result or a string of results, with so many matches still to go, and that 7 points could be clawed right back. I don't know. So I don't want to look too far ahead. Right here, right now, though, this is an enormous result for Arsenal. And if you're like me, you're feeling a mixture of relief, emotion as well. Like we're dreaming big. We're like, oh my God, is this it? Is this the season? But also that trepidation, knowing that at any moment this lead could sort of it could dissipate in front of us. And the part that makes me a little bit nervous as well in talking this up is that we leave too much to chance. So look, I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's start with selection. When I saw the lineup this morning, when I woke up, it's so great having a 6:30 a.m. kickoff. By the way, these are last 2 Monday mornings, 3:30 a.m. Melbourne kickoff times. They're absolutely brutal, especially in a title race as tense as this. I'm feeling it in my 45-year-old body right here. It's aging me. It's aging me rapidly, and I feel it especially throughout the day, having been up at 3:30 in the morning. So thank you for the fixturing. The AM was just a lot more manageable for me. So when I saw the lineup and I saw Saliba missing, from what I understand, Arteta has been quoted as saying he rolled his ankle against Chelsea, but managed to play the game through. I didn't notice anything like that. So, full credit to Saliba for playing through the pain. But, we've got the capability now of sitting him down. We've got Mosquera there, who I had no qualms about. When I see the team sheet, as I mentioned, no hesitation, no reaction at all. Mosquera is more than capable, fantastic footballer. He had a difficult night, which I'll come to in a second. But otherwise, selection was pretty much as I expected. Great to see Rice was okay from coming off against Chelsea in the last 15 minutes when Norgard came on against them. So he was immense again tonight. He was everywhere. Just when you needed someone to step in and intercept or put a tackle in or win a duel, nice time and time again, he steps up. Another huge performance from him. And basically, I want them all sat down this weekend in the FA Cup. I know as much as we built a squad for 4 trophies, and we've never been in this position before historically for Arsenal to have this mythical quadruple being spoken about. If you're familiar with my channel, I've been saying for quite some time now, I think that at some point something's going to have to give. There's a lot of emotional expenditure as well, not just the physical fatigue and the way Arsenal are clinging on to matches and the way we're grinding out results. I think at some point something does have to give. Now, I'm not saying you go and throw the FA Cup. I'm not saying that whatsoever before someone misunderstands what I'm saying. I'm essentially saying full rotation for that one, please. I don't want to see, there's a couple of key names already, the core group, that I want to see nowhere near that match, that starting lineup. And in no particular order, that will be Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, of course, Saka, Zubimendi, Rice, just that they don't need to be anywhere near that one. Full rotation. You've got Marley Salmon, you can slot in at fullback somewhere. Lewis Skelly, Hincapié probably would start there. Calafiori as well. The likes of Madueke, Eza, Norgard. So you've got the ability there. You've got Dowman as well, who returned to the bench tonight. So full rotation. And the reason I'm mentioning that match now is I think that played into Arteta's selection here, is that we knew how big of a block of matches this was. Since that Wolves, which it's not such a bad result now in hindsight, is it? I've seen a few mentions of that with they won against Liverpool yesterday. So anyway, coming back to my point about selection, I think that informed Arteta's viewing of this match, that basically this little block of games, Spurs, Chelsea, and then away to Brighton, can we get maximum output from all of our core group, knowing that this weekend they can sit down, they can have a full week of rest before we're back in action, that the senior team, the senior players are going to be called back into action next week. So I think that was the rationale why anyone, all hands on deck for this one. And it's worked, I guess, in a way that's been effective. We've taken 9 from 9 in the last 3 Premier League matches to add to our tally. The table's looking fantastic at the moment, right? It's very much a results-based business. So they can all just rest. I can imagine there'll be some very tired legs, some very heavy legs amongst that core group of Arsenal players, but knowing that we can just sit them down this weekend, they don't need to be anywhere near it. To spend a week just resting, recovering, active recovery, look after their bodies, manage it, because then we go again once the Bayer Leverkusen tie starts again. It's on like Donkey Kong again so soon, isn't it? So I think that played into Arteta's thinking here. In forward, I'm glad we made a change. At left wing, Trossard had a difficult game, and we know his ability to impact the games as a sub. That probably played into Arteta's thinking here against his old team as well. He was widely booed every time he went near the ball, and maybe that got to him as well, because he did give away the ball a few times, and he had that opening right deep into the match. It was on his left foot. He had more time than what he thought, but sprayed the ball wide out for a goal kick. But other than that, I think it was very much a lineup that we expected. Still no Odegaard. That's a little sneaky. That's a little sneaky injury, isn't it? Now, when I say sneaky in terms of the amount of matches that he's missing, now it's very unfortunate. I don't know if there's any official announcement of that, but it's not meant to be too serious, supposedly. But it is a block of games now that he's missed, and we do miss his control on the ball sometimes, especially late in matches. He's excellent in those situations. He can give and receive the ball. He can come deep. Take the load off the centre halves. Take the load off Rice and Zubimendi and distribute, come drive the ball out from the back himself. So he's been a big miss. So hopefully he's back into action sooner rather than later too. The build up for this game has been very much dominated by Arsenal ruining football, set pieces. Something's got to be done, winning ugly, and it's just look. I know how ridiculous it is. I also know that a lot of it is driven for engagement, because Arsenal fans, we can be collectively online a lot, and we can, be rage baited and be drawn into that sort of stuff, which drives engagement. So, punditry is not about actual proper analysis anymore. It's about click-worthy stuff, things that can be clipped up and circulated on social media with like a thinking emoji or having the fans debate things in comments, and it's not that what it used to be. That's the point I'm trying to say. So the only reason I mention it, I don't want to pour too much fuel on the fire on that, because I've said my piece on it, and I'm happy to repeat that, to recap that if need be. The Brighton manager, that's where I'm going with this. Fabian Herzl, like, what is his problem? Can someone explain to me? Have I missed something? Can someone tell me in the comments or whatever? Has he got history with Arsenal, like in his playing career, or has anything happened? What is his problem? He's obsessed. He looks absolutely obsessed with Arsenal, and the way he spoke about Arsenal's delays and the amount of time we take to restart matches and corners and throw-ins. I've seen some charts where we're not the worst culprit. In fact, they take more than us. But clearly, it was an effort to wind up the fans, wind up the atmosphere in the stadium, and put pressure on the referees. And like straight away, he's basically trying to be the fourth official. That's what I'm trying to say. He's right there. He's almost glued to the fourth official. He's right in his personal space, always mouthing off, always talking. I loved when Hincapié basically told him to shut up when Herzl was trying to say, "Hurry up here, take the ball, throw the ball back in." And clearly, Brighton were distracted. Clearly, if Arsenal did this, if Arsenal was so obsessed with the opposition, what the headlines would be: emotional Arteta, emotional Arsenal, distracted. Look at the energy being transmitted from the manager. That can't be good. The players have been drawn into that when they need to focus on the game, focus on the ball, go out there and win the ball, win the game. They didn't do any of that. The amount of times I heard Brighton's fans almost baying for blood sometimes. Every time there was a foul or a throw-in or a goal kick or Raya, about to distribute the ball. They were clearly distracted, and fantastic for us. Let them be distracted. Let them be obsessed. We can reframe this whole narrative, this whole pressure on Arsenal about set pieces. Let them implode. Let them do their own heads in. They're obsessed. They're absolutely obsessed. We will focus on the task at hand. Let's go and win the ball. Let's go and score the goal. Let's go and win the game and move on and go next. That's the best way to do this. Let them bleed into that narrative. Let them be obsessed by it. Absorb it all. Let their heads implode. Let them froth at the mouth over it. We'll just go and win games of football. And in the process, let's keep adding to our tally, and let's go and lift the Premier League trophy. That's the response. That is precisely the response. The best way to do it, just go out there and win games of football. Let them be distracted. Let them have all the noise. We can just focus inward, block all that crap out, and go and win. And that's exactly what we've done. And the situation would have been different had they not been so distracted. They would have known that Arsenal, we have some vulnerabilities. I mean, I'll call it like it is. I don't think I'm saying anything too outlandish here. It's that we know we have conceded goals. We are dealing with very fine margins. There is pressure on Arsenal. We are feeling the heat at times. We're feeling that energy. We want this so bad. The players want this more than anyone. No one wants it more than Arteta, in fact. So we know what is at stake. If teams who actually focus and can play cohesive football and not be distracted by all the emotions around it, they can get something out of Arsenal. We've seen it. We've seen it with Sunderland. We saw it with Wolves even a couple of weeks ago, with full credit to them. Right, we are vulnerable. We are gettable somewhat. At the same time, let them be distracted by that crap. We'll just go and do what we need to do, see it through, and we managed that last portion of the match so well. In fact, as the match ticked on to 70, 75, 80 minutes, you can feel the life coming out of the stadium. We sucked it out of them with our resolute defending, the amount of clearances, Gabriel, Hincapié winning key duels, key headers. It was incredible. We sucked the life out of them. We'd get the ball forward, we'd draw a foul, and we'd suck more minutes out of the match. It was fantastic the way we managed that. Full credit to Arsenal. And then eventually, the Brighton fans, they quietened down. In fact, all I could hear consistently was the Arsenal fans. The Arsenal away fans were amazing all night again. Straight from the start, I heard that the Gabriel King of Brazil chant, for example. I could hear them so clearly. And all the way here in Melbourne, they were incredible. We owned that atmosphere. It was almost, in a way, you would have forgotten that it was a Brighton home match towards the end there. We managed that so well. You see the empty seats, the Brighton fans started to disperse, in the late 80s, early 90 minutes and onwards in injury time. And the moment the final whistle left, gone. They're gone. In fact, I don't even recall seeing, did Herzl hang around for a handshake with Arteta? I don't know. Has he done an Emery? I'm not sure. I don't want to say something inaccurate there, so someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But Arsenal, we absolutely sucked the life out of them. And it was fantastic. It wasn't a vintage display, not at all. Were we perfect? No, not at all. If we keep doing this for the remaining 7-8 matches of the Premier League, are we going to get away with it? Probably not. I think that's the reality. Absolutely not. Having said all that, it worked tonight. City have dropped points. We go 7 points ahead. So in a results-based industry, it's been a fantastic result for Arsenal. It's been fantastic. It doesn't always make sense, does it? Because it does, and maybe it doesn't need to. Football, like life, is open to random moments of chaos that don't have logic to it. I don't think we were great tonight. We probably did we deserve the 3 points? But probably not. If you look at the stats, I think we had one shot on target, which was Bukayo's shot early on, which I'll come to in a moment. Actually, I'm realizing how much I'm talking without even mentioning the match itself. But overall, I thought we were quite ordinary. We didn't win many duels. We weren't stringing together passes. I believe there's a stat circling around that our first half passing completion rate, the percentage was 74%, I believe. That's quite low. It hasn't been that low in a long, long time. So we weren't really controlling the match and playing with that same sort of tempo. This was not a great performance by Arsenal. It absolutely wasn't. But we won. We won the match. And it's one of those things where do we really care? In the grand scheme of things, when you zoom out, and you tick the match off, with 3 points, do you really care about the performances? Because right now, Arsenal want this so bad. We want to climb that mountain. I do genuinely believe that once that happens, and I do genuinely believe it'll be this season, by the way, you will see the shackles broken from Arsenal. This whole handbrake that is called, or this caution we play with, that tension in the atmosphere with Arsenal, sitting back and whatnot, I believe we'll blow that open. I think we'll blow it wide open. You'll see us really step forward as champions and have those trophies and medals to show for it. And then comes the swagger. Then comes the mentality to show we're the best in the business. We're the best in town. Once you have something to show for it, I really do believe the way this squad is built with the age and the number of key renewals, the key contracts who've signed up for the core group who are here for the next 3, 4, 5 years, I believe we're going to put together an incredible little run, a little dynasty, so to speak. But again, I don't want to look too far ahead. The point I'm trying to make is this brand of football currently, this is not the true Arsenal. This is not going to be sustained. I think once we lift that trophy, once we climb that mountain, this will alleviate the pressure on themselves, and we will go out and we'll be much more like the Arsenal of a couple of seasons ago, right? When we were much more free flowing and scoring goals and emptying stadiums for fun. So anyway, on to this match. As I've already mentioned, we had that very nervous opening. In fact, I think even prior to that, I think Mosquera's first touch of the ball around 30, 40 seconds in, he'd miscued the pass. It wasn't a great start for him. And then soon after, Raya, out of nowhere, he's played the ball into, was it Matoma? I can't quite recall, sorry. And I just thought, I was watching on my iPad, I thought, here we go, 1-0 Raya mistake. But Gabriel, incredible anticipation. How's the defensive IQ on this man? He's a monster, absolute monster. He gets back, heads the ball clear, and it's just like, come on, guys, just shake your way out of this. In the next few minutes, there was a play where Saka was played in on the right, and he was actually in an excellent shooting position. For some reason, he didn't shoot. He's played the ball across on his right foot. He's cut the ball across, thinking that Martinelli is going to run onto it. And I threw my hands up thinking, Bukayo, that's your moment. He can take the shot. He was actually in a very good position. He scored from there many times, at least test the goalkeeper, and he didn't. And I reckon that played into what we saw next. A few minutes later, he was played in again from a deeper position, not in the same attacking sense as he was prior to that. And he would have known, okay, this time I'm not going to pass it off. I'm going to take the shot on myself. And that's what happens. You take the shot. It's like you roll the dice. You never know what can happen. This is what I've been banging on about so much more. Take the shot. And the worst of it is it's saved. Or sometimes it's a rebound. Sometimes it can be spilled by a keeper. It can go away for a corner. Or in this case, you get a favorable deflection. It all comes from the fact that Bukayo took the shot. And in his 300th appearance, it was symbolic that he was the one who scored the goal. And it was at 9 minutes in and Arsenal 1-0. And it changes everything. Changes the entire tempo. It wasn't the most vintage goal. Of course not at all. But it all comes from the fact that he learned from his prior mistake. He didn't need to take the pass on and distribute to Martinelli, who just got his time in it, and the cohesion between them was well off. I said, I'm the man. his 300th game. He's the poster boy of this franchise, right? And that's what he's there to do. And I strongly believe that if someone's going to become a match winner in this running, it's going to be Bukayo Saka. He's scoring goals. This is what we need. We need him to go on a run of scoring goals and that comes from taking shots. So well done to Bukayo, 1-0 to Arsenal. And in the end, it was the match-winning goal. And as an added bonus for that, boy, did it wind up their manager again. I don't want to keep banging on about him so much, but he had massive main character energy. You know that saying, like he thinks it's all about him. So that's why I'm going to mention it, because it really wound him up. And I loved Arteta just basically telling him as well to pipe down, because it's pretty ridiculous. How can you constantly be moaning and sooking across to the ref and not have a caution? Look, to be fair, maybe he was. Maybe the referee is in his ear and told him to pipe down, or is going to send him off or yellow card him. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is that it really pissed him off, and that was great. It was music to my ears, seeing him so wound up and hearing the Brighton fans so wound up. It was great. It really played into Arsenal's hands here with how distracted they were. After that goal, we didn't. I don't think we had an attempt for. Did we have another attempt in the first half? I don't believe we did. We somehow managed to get ourselves to half-time. Brighton had a few half chances as well. Rye was caught into action. He's looking imperious again, by the way. He looked assured. He was grabbing balls out of the air. And made an excellent save as well, diving to his right. That ball was going in. Was it Minter? He's a real handful. I wouldn't be surprised to see him picked off somewhere, maybe amongst the big six in the Premier League, or maybe even across Europe this summer. He's a real handful. Very tidy football. I've got a lot of time for him. Welbeck came on as well late on. Again, that whole narrative of Danny Welbeck coming back to bite Arsenal. Thankfully, it didn't happen either. We did what we needed to do. And just to repeat what I said, I believe I said something similar in the post-match podcast after the win against Chelsea, is that it'd be great if we're not talking about our best players, our men of the match, being the likes of Hincapié or Gabriel or Raya, as it was a few days ago against Chelsea. What you want it to be. You want it to be someone like Gyökeres. You want it to be someone like Bukayo, Eza. That's what you want at this time of the season. In this clutch time, you want your match winners to step up and go on a run. It doesn't have to be like you don't have to score a hat trick every game. I'm not saying that, but you can have a run. You can say a block of 6, 7, 8 matches where you're hitting the scoreboard with goals and assists. You can just look at it in that point of view, and who is willing to step up and take that mantle. That's what you want. You want to change the narrative, just so we don't keep sucking every drop out of it. If you think of it as a sponge, right? Trying to wring every last drop of energy from your defenders, from Timber, who looks in the red zone as well. Still no Ben White, unfortunately. I'm hoping that means that Timber's not going to be called upon this weekend in the FA Cup, by the way. Hopefully White can feature somewhat, or even Marley Salmon, or is there someone else, another youth player that I'm not aware of? Like, you can't risk Timber. He's so integral to Arsenal. But just getting back to the message I'm trying to convey here is that you don't want to be relying upon this every single match. Squeeze in all the energy you can from your defenders and from Rice and Zubimendi. Zubimendi looked absolutely gassed, by the way, and I'm glad he came off. Finally, Norgard is being used in this situation. Similar to Chelsea, he's come on for the final 15 minutes or so to alleviate the workload on those midfielders, because they have to do a lot of grunt work, up and back and covering a lot of distance. They played a lot of outfield minutes. I think they're right up there in terms of the minutes played by Arsenal players, outfield players. And there's a correlation between that and the mistakes that we've seen as well, the emotional, the fatigue as well. So I'm glad Arteta's reacted. In fact, he reacted well today, because in the opening 15 minutes of the second half, Brighton were all over us. They were dominating. We were sitting back looking very passive. He needed to make changes, and he brought on, that's right, it was a double sub first up. He brought Gyökeres off for Havertz, which is great to see that Havertz's body was ready to do 30-plus minutes. Trossard came on, who I've already mentioned, for Martinelli. I think Gyökeres had a difficult game. We know this is the nature of him, his profile. If you can't hit the scoreboard, which is not going to happen every week, of course, it depends on, is he going to be played in? Are we going to have final third entries, which we weren't up until this point? That's not on him. That's not his fault, no. However, what you do want is that when the ball is near him, you want him just to be able to control the ball. Can he buy a foul? Can he win a duel, a second duel? Can he get his foot in there? Can he distribute? And a couple of times, maybe 2, 3, 4 times, when the ball was with him, he just took an extra touch. It was a bit clunky. We spilled the ball over, unfortunately for him. The change needed to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. So thankfully, Havertz came on. Havertz could have scored, by the way, as well. He was played in beautifully. It was a quick sort of play. Was he played in by Eza, I think, who did the same thing with Bukayo in that opening chance I've already mentioned. I think the Crow is agreeing with me, by the way. So Havertz was integral. We made some changes soon after that. That's right. Yes, I'm just getting to that. It was Mosquera, who was booked very early. That's what I wanted to mention, actually. I forgot to mention in my commentary on the first half. He was booked after 10 minutes, and I knew that Brighton were going to do everything they possibly could to get him a second yellow. To his credit, Mosquera, he had a couple of fouls that he just sort of half pulled out of just to not make it look as nasty as it could have been. You know, if you don't want to give... If there's one referee you don't want to give a chance to send you off, it's this bloke, Kavanagh. Actually, there's 2 referees, Michael Oliver and Kavanagh. I can't believe I know their names, by the way. I shouldn't know the referees' names, but they haunted Arsenal. Chris Kavanagh, he's like that. He was the by the letter of the law guy, wasn't he, when he sent off Rice against Brighton a couple of seasons ago. So Mosquera was, he was on thin ice. So I'm glad we took him off, because I do believe that had he been kept on, if we were drawn into a second yellow and gone down to 10 men, I really worry how this match could have ended. But thankfully, Calafiori came on, and this was interesting because then we completely reshuffled our back four. So Calafiori's gone to left back, and then Hincapié spent a lot of time on the right-hand channel, such as his versatility. It was excellent. What a fantastic signing that's been, by the way. We didn't really appreciate it in the opening few months as Hincapié was acclimatising to Arsenal and recovering from injury. He's a fantastic signing. He's a nailed-on starter. He's seeing the opportunity from Calafiori's recurring injuries, and Hincapié's taken the shirt for now. He's saying, I'm the starting left-back, and full credit to him. He was incredible. Even when we were sitting so deep, there was one moment where he was the one showing that level of urgency, breaking forward, charging forward. Unfortunately for him, he ended up turning over the ball deep into the final third, but he was the one trying to make things happen. Our fullback, and this is what I'm saying, that you need game breakers like that sometimes. You need someone to step up and say, no, we're not going to sit the entire half in our own defensive third. Let's break forward with intensity and energy. You never know what happens. Full credit to Hincapié. He was my man of the match tonight. And then Norgard came on as well. As I mentioned, he was trying to get involved, trying to sit just in that hole, fill the hole, try and intercept, nick balls away and get it forward. Look, it was all effective at the end of the day. Somehow we managed ourselves well, despite a number of attempts from Brighton, some free kicks, the crosses were flying in. It was just an incredible defensive performance from Arsenal. So I want to give them their flowers, give them their credit. At the same time as well, multiple things can be true at once. I don't believe that this can be sustained for the remaining 7 matches. Is it 7 matches for us now, or 8? I keep getting that wrong. I'm sorry. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think we can sustain this. And I don't think my heart rate can either. Can yours? Please let me know in the comments. I feel like I'm aging rapidly watching this, but ultimately, if we get there, if we climb that mountain, it's all going to be worth it. It's absolutely all going to be worth it. It's just one of those things where how I'd love to go and put the foot to the throat, score 2, score 3, and it's 3-0, and you can just ease off and manage the final 20, 25 minutes. Not to be, this is the way Arsenal operate, right? This is, if there's a hard way to do things for Arsenal, that's the route we will take. It comes with the territory, right? Being a long-term Arsenal fan, I'm sure you can resonate with what I'm saying. Ultimately, a monumental set of results for Arsenal. 7 points clear. My head is still spinning. This is incredible. We must keep this going. We've got the week off now in the Premier League. As I said, let them rest, let them recover, look after them. If I was in London, right, I would offer myself to go. I'll go give them a massage. I'll bring them a hot water bottle. You can have a little bell there, you ding, 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 and Rab will be there like that. I'll do whatever they need me to do, right, to manage them, because this is so important for Arsenal. This evening, this set of results, and I'm riding the wave right now. So I think on that note, I will bring this one to a close. Please let me know how you're feeling. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all my recent followers and activity. I really appreciate it. If you're listening on audio platforms, Spotify or Apple, please follow the show. Leave me a 5-star review. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. I read every single word, by the way. Thank you so much. I know I'm just a small, tiny drop in the ocean in the Arsenal content creation landscape, but I'm very blessed to have just such lovely people with such kind, supportive comments continually. You all know who you are. So thank you so much. Please Keep this momentum going, Arsenal. I believe there's something truly special on the horizon here. This is another building block in what looks like to me a Premier League trophy. So let's keep going. On that note, look after yourselves, everyone. Take care. There's a lot of things happening in the world right now. I hope wherever you are, you're okay with your mental health. Check in with your loved ones, and I'll talk to you all again soon in a few days' time. So thank you so much. Come on, Arsenal.